What happens is when you're shifting that awareness to something else other than those negative emotions and negative feelings, is all of a sudden you start to see that money come into your bank account. All of a sudden you start to feel a little bit lighter when you're like, oh, you know what? Today wasn't as stressful. I had some moments of clarity today. Welcome to the Expansion Code. I'm Heather, and I could not be more excited to finally launch this podcast. This is the space where we dive into all things business, growth, leadership, and team expansion. I am really passionate about building something bigger than myself, sharing knowledge, and creating opportunities for others to thrive. I started solo, and now I lead a team of over 50, so trust me, I know the highs and the challenges and the incredible moments that come with scaling a business. Throughout this podcast, I'll be sharing insights, strategies, and conversations with some truly incredible guests. We are going to cover everything from marketing and leadership to mindset shifts and business expansion. So my goal is to give you real actionable takeaways that you can apply to your own journey. Let's dive in, learn together, and unlock what's next. Welcome to the Expansion Code. Welcome back to the Expansion Code with Heather Dick. Today, it's a solo episode. It's also a very honest conversation I'm going to be having today. We're going to talk about self-awareness and alignment. Many people have said to me, wow, you're really self-aware. I'm very grateful for that. So thank you to my two friends that said that. And it really had me thinking. Self-awareness is key to growth and success in your business. It's also really good for your relationships with your family, partners, siblings, friends. But how do we become self aware? Is it something that comes with age? Is it something that comes with a lot of experiences, a coach, a therapist? I wanted to break it down for you today. Alignment is something that is a result of self awareness. Alignment is another buzzword that people throw around in the personal development sector. So, it's like, oh, it wasn't in alignment with me. I mean, it probably wasn't. And so good for you for being self-aware and recognizing that working with that business partner or taking on a new vendor didn't work with your business. A lot of times alignment is that gut instinct. You feel like you're like forcing things to happen. You feel like you're swimming upstream. This could be with a staff member. This could be with a new opportunity, a new space. A lot of different experiences will come with self-alignment or unalignment. I will preface this episode with a little disclaimer, okay? Just because someone called me self-aware doesn't mean that I am 100% all day long, 24/7 self-aware. It is a daily practice. It is something I work very hard to maintain, at least the base level of self-awareness when I'm dealing with my staff, with clients, my partner, things like that. Self-awareness is something you may never fully perfect. If you're not watching this, I just used air quotes. Perfection is never the goal. When I talked to Stacey Berger, she was a guest on the episode or on the podcast, sorry. She works with hundreds of clients. She's a transformational life coach. And I asked her, what was the one thing that your clients have in common that they want? It wasn't money. It wasn't peace. It wasn't even happiness. It was freedom. And when you become self-aware, when you have that alignment, you get into this flow state where things feel easy and you're not forcing things anymore. I'm going to give some insight to my life when I really started my self-awareness journey. I'm going to share some stories of when I wasn't self-aware and what that looked like, what it felt like. I can viscerally feel that tension and stress. And why it matters to you and why it matters to your business. Because when we force things, it usually doesn't end out good, does it? My definition of self-awareness is when you really know what's going on inside of you without judgment. I'm going to give you an example. When I went full-time with Blush, it was not very long ago, it was in 2022. Prior to that, I was working at my parents' business full-time. So my daily schedule looked like this. I would wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I would work out. I would do Blush computer work. I would go to my parents' business for 8 a.m., continue to divide my time all day long between 8 and 5. I'd come home, eat, maybe walk my dogs, and then I'd go back on the couch and I'd sit on the computer and I'd do blush work. I did this for years. I thought I was functioning perfectly fine. I thought I had it nailed down. I was crushing working 2 full-time jobs. Everywhere was thriving. Ipso facto, that was not in fact the case. I was basically doing 2 full-time jobs about 60 to 70% every single day. And I'm not really one to half-ass anything. So internally, I was ignoring the fact that I felt like I was not doing anything 100%. I was not giving my parents' business my all. I wasn't giving Blush my all. I was really short with my boyfriend. I was really short with my parents. And honestly, I was even short with some customers because I was just like, can someone give me a break? And you know who that person had to be was me. It was like I was constantly looking for someone to tell me, stop, slow down. You don't have to do all of this. Or I was also looking for someone to drop $100,000 in my lap and say, here, now you can go do Blush full time. You don't have to worry about money. That was my biggest fear of not doing Blush full time was, will I have enough money? Um, so back up to 2019, I met a transformational life coach at the gym by accident. I'm a very social person, as you know. And I started talking to her. Her name is Sarah Jane. Sarah, if you are listening to this podcast, you are pivotal in my life. I am so grateful to have met you. Um, and we just started chatting at the gym. She's like, do you want to go for coffee? Yes, of course I would love that because I like making new friends. We went for coffee and we started talking about our journeys as human beings on this earth. And she said, I think that we should work together. In 2019, that was only 6 years ago. It's 2025 right now. If you're listening to this in the future. um, I totally just distracted myself. So in 2019, coaches, transformational coaches, anything like that, I feel still had a weird stigma around them. It was like, oh, you're weak. You still, you need a coach. It's like you can't do this on your own. Same thing with therapists. It was getting better for sure, but certainly not as good as it is now. And people are proud to work with coaches now. People are proud to say, hey, I had this mentor, man, they like completely transformed my life. As I'm starting to work with Sarah, I was starting to get into meditation. I was really, really diving deep into, energy work, breath work, things like that. And it was really speaking to me at this time in my life. Thankfully, this happened just before COVID because I was able to go into that insanely uncertain time with a little bit more peace. And I was meditating every day. I was having my daily routines. I was journaling. I was doing breath work. I was being really kind to myself. And once things got back to normal, air quotes again, because what is normal? I forgot about it. I signed a lease on Blush's first commercial space in 2021. And all of that self-awareness, all of that work that I'd done for the previous 2 years, out the door. I stopped meditating. I stopped journaling. I'd still work out and do my daily movement, but that was because it was a habit at that point. It's a lifestyle that I have just adapted over the past 30 years. Well, no, I haven't been working out since I was 10, but um, I just stopped. And I could feel this ball of tension just growing in me every single day. I was consistently forcing things to happen. I was no longer just allowing things to unfold as they should. I had these really, really high expectations for my commercial space set. I was constantly arguing with my boyfriend, who was doing a ton of work himself, bless him, and didn't get paid a dime. Um, and I could feel this tension. It was like I was trying to go up a rope and someone was consistently pulling me down. That's what I felt like. In 2022, I finally had a conversation with my parents that I was like, I think I need to leave Cougar. I cannot do this anymore. Blush is growing at a rapid rate. We'd opened the doors to our commercial space in September 2021. So I was not even at my new space. I would go there when I could. People needed me so bad there, and so I left. When I left Cougar and I look back on my behavior and how I was behaving, or acting at Cougar and at Blush and all of that in my personal life, it was like, "Holy smokes, I really wasn't functioning that well, was I?" I thought I was doing so good. And when you're looking at self-awareness and you're looking at how you are in your life, we all have those moments where it's like, "Ooh, I really shouldn't have reacted that way with my kid. He's tired, whatever, my partner." We have those moments of reflection. And what self-awareness is having those moments of reflection almost every single minute. How does this, and it sounds so lame, okay? I understand. How does this make me feel? When I organize my day and I stack appointments first thing in the morning, and then by 4 o'clock I have nothing, do I like that? Would I prefer to start working at 1 o'clock and work till 7 p.m.? You know, Being an entrepreneur, you have the ability to schedule your day however you want to. And I think it's really important that you start asking yourself, how does it make me feel? How does it make me feel when I'm recording 4 podcast episodes in a day? Am I drained? Am I ignited? And you're going to make a lot of mistakes along the way. I certainly have, I still do every day. But when you really start looking at that self-awareness, your burnout becomes less common. You start to take responsibility for things when someone is maybe coming at you, blaming you for something. You can kind of step back and say, "Hmm, I was wrong there. I'm so sorry." And it fizzles. That's it. That's all it is. It's just a recognition. In yoga, they say when you're laying in shavasana and they tell you to just let your thoughts happen. That's what you're doing with your life. What does this make me feel like? And when I started full time with Cougar, or sorry, with Blush, oh my gosh, I did it the exact opposite way than what I actually needed. I thought that I was like, whew, every single day's open now. I'm just going to fill my day with a bunch of stuff. I'm going to get, I'm going to do the thing that's a luxury, and I'm going to get a facial in the middle of the day. And, I just organized my day very, very poorly. And I ended up still feeling quite anxious because I was so used to having this schedule. I was so used to working Monday to Friday. I mean, technically like 4:30 a.m. to 9 p.m., but still, whatever. I had a structure in my day. And until I had that self-awareness of like, ooh, what actually works for me? When do I feel the most productive? When do I feel the most tired? Do I really like taking appointments in the morning? And I'll be honest with you, here's how I schedule my day. Currently, every day during the week, I will work out anytime between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. I have a flex time there. So it's whatever I feel like or whatever class I have scheduled. I'll have an easy morning. I'll come home, shower, play with my puppy, eat, maybe do some cleaning around the house, maybe do some computer work, maybe not. And I do not take any business meetings until 1 p.m. every single day. If someone wants to have a business meeting with me at 10 a.m., you have to be my favorite person. And I think the only person I do that with is my podcast producer. So Callie, I love you. I do that for you. But that's just how I like to schedule my day. Other people, completely opposite. It's not like I'm laying in bed until noon every day. I just don't really like feeling rushed in the morning anymore. And that's a luxury. That's a self awareness thing. I also start to pay attention to how I feel after I do something or after I'm with someone. How does this person make me feel? Again, that sounds so lame, but it's very true. Does this person ignite me? Do they drain me? Does my energy feel leaked after having a team meeting, or does it feel energized? I have stopped planning a million things in a day with the expectation that I'm going to be able to crush it, because all that happens is I don't do any of it. I'd maybe do like out of 5 tasks, I'll execute 2 of them. I end up feeling like a failure at the end of the day. I feel tired, burnt out, and then I'm just creating more tasks for myself in the future. I remember when Rachel, my studio manager, first started working for me, she was in charge of like booking interviews and things like that. She had access to my schedule. And there was one day we had 3 interviews for new makeup artist and hairstylist, and she or 4, 3 or 4. And each interview is about 2 hours long. She's like, "Okay, I filled your day with interviews." And I was like, "Bro, dude, that's the worst thing ever." Rachel had no idea. I didn't set those expectations with her. An interview is for me, it's a lot of output. I'm watching someone work. I'm trying to get a feel for them. So I'm really, really sitting and like paying a lot of attention to someone. And that happened once and never again. And so, especially, it's not just yourself who makes your schedule, it's your other people. You need to set those expectations with other people and how you can, you know, plan your day, plan your life, whatever. Don't plan a bunch of stuff for the day you get back from vacation. Don't plan a bunch of stuff for the day before you leave for vacation. Or maybe you do. I don't know. Everyone's self awareness is completely different. But I tell you, what happens is when you become self aware, and you consistently ask yourself, how did that make me feel without judgment? Not like, oh my God, Heather, you should have got all of those tasks done. It's like, no, you didn't get those tasks done. Why? What did you do? What happened? Is your day really unpredictable? Because my days are unpredictable sometimes. Sometimes my mom stops by and plays with my puppy for 3 hours. I'm not going to stop that. I just have to extend my day. So self awareness looks different to everyone, but I encourage you to implement self-awareness practices, I guess. We'll talk about that at the end of the episode and what works for me and what doesn't, and it might be different for you. Um, I just want you to recognize, the red flags of not being self-aware. It's burnout, blaming other people's when you're responsible, um, defensiveness, things like that. You feel just on edge, wound really, really tightly. When you have that self-awareness and you start to become a little bit more at peace with your reactions and actions to things and variables, external stimulus, that kind of thing, your alignment becomes a lot easier, and you can get into that flow state that yoga practitioners and Eastern medicine practitioners always talk about. I remember taking a yoga class one time, and this sticks with me. I say it to myself almost every single day. Stop telling yourself what you should be doing and start asking yourself what you need. I used to be very, very guilty of every single day I would work out at 5 a.m. And if I didn't work out that day, I would have the worst day. I would be in the worst mood. And I kept telling myself I should be working out. If I'm not working out, I'm going to get, you know, whatever. Very, very unhealthy internal chatter. As I've become more self aware in my practice and my daily life, I ask myself, am I really, really tired today? Maybe I should skip my workout. There's 7 days in a week. I could maybe do this tomorrow. And then just recognizing, no, I could probably push it or take a break. Um, and just letting it be. Just that's is what it is. It's only a workout. It's only a meeting. It's only a lunch. And that's a self-awareness, that's a perspective thing too. The sky, my friends, I tell you what, it's not falling on your head, I promise you. Even if it feels like it is on a daily basis, it's not. And having the awareness to recognize that you actually have it pretty damn good. And if you've ever heard the saying, if everyone threw their problems in a circle, you'd probably take yours back. It is so true. And I know we all say like everyone's going through something that you know nothing about, but it really is true. So having that self-awareness of like, oh wow, I'm kind of acting like a little asshole right now. I'm gonna reel it in. Just try it. It's gonna make people love you more. It's gonna make you being around you a lot more enjoyable as a leader, as a employee, whatever it is. Okay, we need to take a little break because, shocker, this podcast is brought to you by my flagship company, Blush, and I need to give a shout out. So, not only does Blush sponsor my lavish lifestyle, it also sponsors this podcast. Shouts. If you know me, you know that I do not play around when it comes to beauty and self care, and that's why Blush is your one stop shop for looking and feeling your best. We genuinely do it all: hair, makeup, nails, massage, tattoo, medi spa. Basically, if it makes you feel like a goddess, we probably offer it. So, whether you're looking for a fresh balayage or a relaxing massage or a little of that I woke up like this glow, we've got the experts to make it happen. Think of it as self care, but with a little extra love, sunshine, and family. And actually, with our most recent expansion, we now have a private gym, physiotherapy, chiropractic services, and a lot more to help your body. So, if you are ready to treat yourself, book an appointment at Blush Artistry because let's be honest, life's too short for bad hair and uneven eyeliner. You can find us at blush-artistry.ca or over on Instagram at blushartistrymua. Back to the episode. So, alignment is not perfection, okay? Alignment is being true to yourself, being true to others, being true to what you actually need. Everyone's alignment looks completely different. How I set up my day is not how you set up your day. Lots of people would absolutely die if they didn't start working until 1 p.m. It's just how I like to do it. And that's not every day. I'm a lot more flowy than it makes it sound. But alignment is integrity and it is staying true to yourself and what you actually want. It's listening to that gut instinct, that little pit in your stomach that says, don't hire her. She's not going to be good for your team. Or you should probably fire her now. That's alignment. And if we aren't quiet at least once a day, if we don't sit in our thoughts and with no phone, no TV, no one around, and if we don't just like observe what's happening inside our minds and our bodies, you're heading down a slippery slope, my friend. It is very, very important. I'm not talking about half an hour. I'm just saying like a few minutes. A lot of times I realize that this is doing something, but a lot of times is when I'm doing my makeup. How do I feel really anxious right now? Am I starting to kind of like get wound up? Do I have too many things happening at once and pulling me in a million directions? I need to do some breath work. And all that breath work looks like for me is just 6 deep breaths in and out. Sometimes I'll do box breathing, which is envision a box. You breathe for 4 in, 1, 2, 3, 4, out, 1, 2, 3, 4, in, out. You do that as many times as possible. And I do that when I'm having trouble sleeping as well. Alignment is feeling grounded. It's not second guessing, which we do all the time. And it's confidence. And how you get to that space where you're confident in yourself, you're confident in your answers, is you have to put yourself out there. You have to put yourself in situations where you could fail and you have to take risks. Because what happens is when you take those risks and you succeed, you're like, holy shit, I did it. I'm confident now. I'm confident I can do this. Handstands are a perfect example. I'm terrified of being upside down. I don't like it. I don't know, maybe it's because I'm a Taurus. I'm an earth sign. I like having my feet on the ground. I've taken probably 5 handstand classes. Okay. I cannot get my feet above my head while I'm like upside down. It's just terrifying to me. And I bet if I got into one handstand, I'd feel confident. I can do a headstand, but not with just my hands. I feel unstable. My confidence is shaken. I've fallen over many times. I'm scared to hurt myself. If I was able to get myself in a situation where I could confidently do a handstand, I'd be a handstand guru. Okay. Maybe that's a weird example, but it's just something I'm not confident in. And because I haven't succeeded at it yet, I still remain to be scared of it. There's a lot of times, I mean, I've talked about a lot of times being out of alignment where I stopped meditating. That's a huge one. Journaling, I kind of go in and out of. I feel like my journaling practice was more of a gratitude practice. So it wasn't necessarily a reflection time for me. I like to do that just internally in my head. I'm very I'm an observer of people around me and an observer of myself. So I already have that as just a natural trait. So I don't necessarily need to put things on paper, but you might. and that's okay. Journaling is great. It's a nice time to just sit for 5 minutes and just write down. Also, no one writes things anymore. So I feel like we're going to lose the art of handwriting. So please, for the love of God, write something on a daily basis. But meditation has been the greatest tool for me to become self aware and to just kind of set my day um, and quiet my mind first thing in the morning. I don't love meditating at nighttime, but that's just a me thing. I'm not sure why. I can't remember, but I've tried both, and morning is just the best way for me. It's quiet. Sometimes the birds are chirping, the sun's coming out. I just sit on my couch cross legged. I have my headphones in, so there's no external sounds. There's a 10-minute guided meditation on YouTube. I'll link it here for you. I think it's just called guided meditation, but I love it. And it's so funny because in my self awareness journey, my yoga practice, I've practiced yoga for like 25 years. One thing that I've always said to myself is if I'm going into a yoga practice and I feel like I actually need to like open my chest, but all we do is work on hips that day, I just succumb to it. Okay, I guess that's actually what I needed that day. So what I do with my YouTube meditation is whatever comes up as the first one on that page, that's the one I click because that's the one I believe I need that day. It's a fun little game I play with myself. It's not it's a silly little thing, but I like to do that. Um, and the biggest way I've mentioned Sarah Jane before, Sarah catapulted me on my self-awareness journey. She was the one that was my reflection. She was the one that taught me words like scarcity mentality, which is basically you just operate in a state of lack on a regular basis. I don't have enough. There's not enough hair, people. There's not enough money. Um, she taught me these words. And because I was so invested in her and invested in our time together, I was just blown away. I was dumbfounded. I was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing. This is like enlightening." Having that coach, she could be like a therapist. She's not actually like certified, but she's a transformational coach and she was certified in that. Um, it was so insightful because I say this all the time. You can't see the forest through the trees. You have no idea what's going on outside of you if all you're doing is like head down, ass up, working your butt off. Having someone that can reflect your personality, your behaviors, your characteristics to you is insanely valuable, especially your partner. If your boyfriend, wife, husband, if they can recognize detrimental behavior in you and see when you're starting to spiral and say it in a way that you're receptive, it is one of the most valuable things I think that you can get out of a relationship. Cameron, my boyfriend, I swear he's like some sort of guru from another lifetime who grew up on a farm in Saskatchewan. Before my self awareness journey, pre 2019, working with Sarah Jane, I would always say stuff like, I'm so overwhelmed. I'm so stressed out. I have no money. Blush is bleeding money. All of these things. That was my daily conversation I would have. And Cameron said to me, Heather, you just continue to make yourself overwhelmed. You're just continuing to make yourself stressed. Okay, you're stressed out. Recognize that. Hey, I'm stressed. Mm, what do I do about that? Do I sit and do I want to remain stressed out? If so, keep telling yourself you're stressed every day. Do you want to remain poor? Keep telling yourself you have no money. And what happens is when you're shifting that awareness to something else other than those negative emotions and negative feelings, is all of a sudden you start to see that money come into your bank account. All of a sudden you start to feel a little bit lighter when you're like, oh, you know what? Today wasn't as stressful. I had some moments of clarity today. Cameron was, imperative for that self awareness journey. And Sarah just kind of like was the nail in the coffin. That's a really bad saying for that, I think, because it like actually brought me to life, but whatever. Anyways, you guys, you get it. I'm not really good with like cliches and like that kind of stuff. Um, I'm gonna tell one more story about um being out of alignment, and it's very recent. It was last year. So again, we're in 2025, not the future. But last year, an opportunity came to me to take over the space next door to Blush. A little prequel to that. I had just finished expanding a spa in Blush. It was $70,000 cash that I paid for this, okay? And all of a sudden, this space next door to Blush became available, 8,000 square feet. It was like, oh my gosh, I got to take this opportunity. It was, it way more, it seemed turnkey. Like, I'm just going to get these keys. Everyone's going to start operating. I'm going to blow it a hole. It's going to be great. That was not what happened. It was not turnkey. It was very invasive to my current space. Um, we had ran into a ton of issues with coding and permits and zoning, and it ended up our budget for the takeover space was about 75,000, $80,000. Um, we're currently at 150, still ongoing. I stopped meditating last year, and it's so funny how that happens. You have these challenging experiences face you, and all of a sudden you stop practicing the things that help you get through them. It's so weird how we do that. Anyways, self-aware. Um, it felt like from January 1st, 2024 to December 1st, 2024, all that happened is money was siphoned out of Blush's bank account. I am a self-proclaimed money hoarder, okay? It may seem like I spend a lot of money on a regular basis. I really don't. I am a hoarder of money. I don't like giving it away. I don't like spending money. I like to have X amount of dollars in my bank account at all times, in Blush's bank account. And what was happening is because I took over this space completely not prepared to do it, which is fine. I mean, opportunities come and you kind of have to take those risks. But because I wasn't prepared to take over this space financially, um, and I've always paid for cash for things using cash, I was like, well, it'll work out. So we started to renovate, we started to expand. Things kept coming up as they do in commercial build outs. Things were delayed as they are in commercial build outs. And all of a sudden, our free rent was gone. We're operating out of a space. Now I'm paying rent. It was a freaking nightmare. And full disclosure, I like to, Blush's cash flow is really good. So paying cash for things usually isn't a problem. Because I had just expanded the spa and spent cash on that, I was hoping to rebuild that over 2024. Well, then I take on another expansion and just drain Blush's bank account. There were weeks, you guys, where I didn't know if I would have enough money to make payroll. And I have a line of credit. I never touched it. So it's not like I was putting myself in a really like strapped position. I also have, a significant chunk of money in savings. So I had to have a lot of conversations with myself. It's okay. I have lots of money. I have all the money I need. But there was a lot of nights where I was crying on the couch with Cameron, like, oh my God, what am I doing? This is so scary. I don't know if I can make payroll. And then I would send a message to Cameron, I made payroll. I did it. And the whole time the team has no idea about this. Because it's not their problem. They just want to get paid for the jobs they're doing. And it's not like I was spending their money on shoes and mega yachts. I was spending their money expanding the space. So um everything worked out in the end. We're on the up and up. But what was happening is consistently, it was like the electrician needs to spend an extra $2,000. We need to enclose, we need to create a stairwell. So that's going to be an extra $20,000 to $30,000. All of these things kept happening. And so for a whole year, money just kept coming out of my account. And when I changed my mentality and realized, like, hey, I'm really out of alignment here. I'm struggling. I started meditating again, started my practice, my daily practice, started to be a lot easier on myself. No judgment zone, bummer free zone. I had all of a sudden the building owner sent me an email. Oh my God, Heather, I'm so sorry. We accidentally charged you too much rent in December. Here's a check for $7,500. Oh my God. Is this real life? January, the old business owner or building owners come to the studio, drop off two checks for $4,500 because of overpaid operational costs in 2024. What is happening? These are true stories. And you know what that did? It gave me the confidence to go ahead. It gave me the confidence, like, oh my God, Everything's going to be okay. And I know some people listening to this have that like must be nice mentality. Bro, listen to me. I almost couldn't make payroll. Okay. So, yes, it is really nice to get a $7,500 check that I wasn't expecting. And there are times where I don't pay myself a dime. And also, you know what? I'm going to stop defending myself here. That's a very bad habit of mine. I deserve all the success I have. But those little things, those checks, I mean, little, it's $12,000. In the grand scheme of things, not even that much money. But it gave me that confidence. Like, Heather, things are going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Money comes and goes. There's an infinite amount of money out in this world, and I am allowed to have all of the money that I need. If I can give you anything to take away from this episode today, I would love for you to, I want you to start asking yourself throughout the day, how do I feel after I've completed this task with this person? How do I feel when I wake up in the morning and hit the ground running? Do I like that? Does that energize me? Does it drain me? I would love for you to, if you do journal, take a look at what you're saying in your journal, what prompts you're doing, because sometimes you don't necessarily have to write down how you're feeling and what things made you feel. Maybe it's just something like a simple gratitude journal. I used to fill a whole page of a journal just saying, like, thank you so much for my healthy body. Thank you for my healthy dogs. This sounds so stupid, but thank you for my loving and supportive family. Thank you for my nephew. Um, and it just helps you become aware of the blessings in your life. Because I know life feels really hard sometimes. I'm actually going to get a little emotional. Sometimes it feels like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. And I can guarantee you, you are not alone. And when you start to take time for yourself, when you start to have a gratitude journal, when you start to meditate, it gives you perspective and it gives you that awareness that helps carry you through the day and get you through those really hard times. And then all of a sudden, you'll have a check for $7,500 drop into your bank account. Before I start bawling, I'm going to let you go. um, if you have any input on this episode, or if you ever want to have a chat about this, hit me in the DMs on my Instagram page, because as you can see, it's something I'm very passionate about, and it's imperative for growth. It's imperative to be able to look at yourself and say, hey, does this work? I hope you enjoyed today's episode. As always, thank you for being here. All right, another episode bites the dust. If you loved this conversation as much as I did, don't forget to hit follow, leave a review, or even send it to a friend you think would enjoy it. And because I like to keep things fun, we're always running giveaways with our amazing guests. So make sure to check with the show notes, our Instagram page, get in on the details on how to get the free stuff, because it's free and fun. And who doesn't like that? Another little disclaimer, while I love sharing advice and business wisdom, I am not your lawyer, I'm not your accountant, and I'm not your fairy godmother. If you do want to be best friends, though, you can hit me up. Everything on this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only, so no lawsuits, okay? Thank you for hanging out with me today. If you'd like to hang out more, you can find me on Instagram at I am Heather Dick and at the Expansion Code. And all of our free resources and consulting packages are on the website, www.theexpansioncode.ca. I appreciate you being here more than you know. I will see you next time.